Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Planning, Development, and Zoning Commission meeting for June 24th at 6 p.m. Let's start with roll call. See, Ryan Miller, that's me, I'm here. Kyle Maraskin.
Here.
Marianne Atkinson.
Here.
Kenneth Hayes.
Here.
Christy Kennard.
Here.
Dolores Martin.
Here.
And William Richardson.
Here.
Excellent. If I can have everybody stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Honor
From Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, indivisible.
Thank you very much. Do we have any public comment cards outside the public hearings? No? Okay. And so we will start with our public hearings. We have 3 of those tonight. So I'll read the public hearing. If you have any input to give, I'll ask for comments. And if you'll come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and then you'll have 3 minutes to tell us anything you'd like to tell us. So our first public hearing is going to be to hear input from the public regarding an ordinance of the City of Manvel, Texas, amending Chapter 77 zoning of the Code of Ordinances, providing for the regulation of accessory dwelling units, providing for the creation and modification of definitions related to the regulation of accessory dwelling units, Section 77-3 definitions, providing for amendments to Section 77-27, open single-family residential OSFR district, providing for amendments to Section 77-28, single-family residential SFR districts, providing for amendments to Sections 77-37 and 77-38, reserved by establishing Section 77-37, accessory dwelling units or ADUs, providing for the establishment of Section 77-38 reserved, and providing for severability and providing a penalty in an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation or any provision hereof. Okay. We'll open the floor for public comments at 6:03. Second call for public comments. And final call for public comments on this first public hearing. Okay, we'll close the first public hearing at 6:04. Okay, second public hearing. To hear input from the public regarding an ordinance of the City of Manvel, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the city by amending the zoning classification of an approximately 20.41 acre tract of land located at 17221 State Highway 6, Suite 103, Manvel, Texas, described as Reserve B of Manvel Town Center, Section 1, from Planned Unit Development and State Highway 6 Overlay District to Planned Unit Development and State Highway 6 Overlay District with a specific use permit, providing for the granting of a specific use permit with conditions to authorize the use of the property for 812113 nail salons to be located within the town center development, providing for an amendment to the city's official zoning map, providing for severability, and providing a penalty in an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation or any provision hereof. Okay, we'll open the public hearing for this at 6:05. And second call for public comments on this hearing. And final call for public comments on this hearing. Okay, we will close this one at 6:05. Y'all just want to see me do all 3 of these back to back is what y'all want, huh?
Beautiful reader.
Such an excellent reader.
I know. As long as there's no words over 4 letters, I'll be okay.
Then we'll draw a picture.
Okay, our final public hearing is going to be to hear input from the public regarding an ordinance of the City of Manvel, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the city by amending the zoning classification of approximately 1.5491 acre tract of land generally located at east of 17518 Morris Avenue, State Highway 6, Manvel, Texas, from light commercial and State Highway 6 overlay district to light commercial and State Highway 6 overlay district with specific use permit providing for and granting a specific use permit with conditions to authorize use for 621493 ambulatory healthcare services, providing for the amendment of the city's official zoning map, providing for severability, and providing a penalty and an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof. Okay, we'll open this one at 6:06. Okay, second call for comments on the final public hearing. And last call for public comments. Okay, we'll close this one at 6:07. Okay. Move on to our consent agenda, which tonight consists of just approving the meeting minutes to date. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And all those in favor? And that passes unanimously, 7-0. Excellent. Okay, our first regular agenda item, consideration and possible action to approve the final plat for Avellino Section 1. Who would like to tell us all about it?
Good evening. This proposed plat is for a new section within Avellino Master Planned Community located along the southern side of Rodeo Palms Parkway.
Could I get you just a little bit louder?
Okay.
Thank you.
This proposed plat is for the new section within Avellino Master Planned Community located along the southern side of Rodeo Palms Parkway, abutting Foxtail Palms subdivision. The proposed final plat subdivides 16.957 acre, including 2 tracts, into 6 blocks, 75 lots, and 3 reserves. This development will be served by Brazoria County Mud Number 29 wastewater treatment plant, and water capacity for the development is being provided by the City of Manvel. The proposed plat generally confirms the master plan approved in January 2024. City staff recommends approval of the Avellino Section 1 final plat with 2 conditions. There are blank spaces for the document numbers on the plat for roadway, parkland, and detention plat, and also for 40-foot right-of-way on the western boundary of the proposed final plat. So these needs to be filled in before the recordation.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions from anyone up here?
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
The blank spaces, are they what's, like right here?
No.
If you're looking at the map, because it's got like the reserve, and so you want them to label that as parks, or,
Can I come and show?
Yeah. I'd appreciate it.
These are the blank spaces.
Okay,
There's
so
one
not
here.
these,
No.
just these, okay,
There's one here, and also the
Yeah.
last note.
okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
2 lines are a big deal.
Any other questions? No? Any motions?
So moved.
With the 2 conditions?
With the conditions or?
With the conditions.
With conditions, okay.
Yep.
Second?
Second.
And all those in favor? And the motion passes unanimously, 7-0. If I can draw a line. Okay. Agenda item B, consideration and possible action to approve and forward with recommendation to City Council ordinance number 2024-024, which is our ADUs. Who would like to tell us more?
Yes, we updated this presentation to reflect our discussion from the last meeting. We'll go through this. Of course, it's we're recommending the removal of guest quarters to go to the next iteration, which is accessory dwelling unit, which, again, we've talked about quite a bit. From our last meeting, we added definitions at the commission's request. You can see them on the screen here. We've got the existing that we had from before was the ADU. We did amend the family definition to mention 4 degrees of consanguinity, which is essentially up to your second great-grandparent. And Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's the case, right? There's a chart to go by. There's a chart somewhere to go by. We, of course, again, mentioning the deletion of guest quarters. We added a definition for a detached accessory dwelling unit as well as attached accessory dwelling unit. The definition for a garage apartment at the request as well. Definition for guest, and we defined kitchenette. And those should all be found in your red lines, but I can answer any questions about those if you have any. You can see the addition here on our ADU definition to remove and not allow mobile homes, RVs, or manufactured homes as ADUs. You can also see the family right here. That's 4 degrees of consanguinity, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Practiced all night, so we'll see.
We'll allow it.
I've got detached accessory dwelling unit. I'll just read through these so you have them. Means an accessory dwelling unit that is clearly subordinate and detached from the principal structure. Attached means an independently functioning accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, that is attached to the principal structure, which includes an exterior point of access, bedroom, bathroom, and kitchenette. And that allows people to come and go from that attached ADU at their own will. Garage apartment means an accessory dwelling unit containing living facilities for not more than one family above a garage or carport. Guest, we defined as a person or persons that are not related by blood within 4 degrees of consanguinity, marriage, adoption, or guardianship that resides on the premises for a period not exceeding 1 calendar week. Kitchenette means a portion of a room, and notice portion, that's kind of what we discussed last time, intended for basic cooking and food preparation, not to include a full-range stove that exceeds 30 inches. I do want to make note that the ordinance does reference, the proposed red lines do reference 24. We meant to update that to 30, so we will do that for the final iteration. Summary of the changes from our last few meetings. Again, ADUs are allowed in open single-family, and planned developments with residential lots planned. They are prohibited from being leased or rented. They have the same setbacks as accessory structures. Utility connections must be from the primary residence, so no separate utility connections. The address must be the same as the principal structure. We had added 650 square feet maximum, or 20% of the square footage, and we called out of the first story of the principal structure instead of the entire square footage of the structure. And maximum 50% of the backyard area can be covered by buildings. And that's what we did, was we also cleared that up, saying behind the actual principal residence, so it is truly backyard, not just behind the front building line. And garage apartments larger than 650 square feet at the foundation may match the square footage of that foundation. Again, we already covered this, but it's allowed in, they will be allowed in OSFR and single-family and planned development districts. Just another slide of showing what your garage apartment would look like versus a detached ADU. And they are limited to 1 per lot as well. Just another, again, a reminder. Most of these are just reminders from the last meeting, but examples on screen of, let's see if I can do this, of an above garage, a detached, and a large lot configuration. And last, I believe last item, yes, drainage, touching base on that again, we did keep it as recommended last time, that they should meet all the flood damage prevention requirements in Chapter 32, as well as the engineering criteria, design criteria manual, DCM. And that concludes the updates from last time, but if you have any questions or want to discuss.
The only thing I was missing was the overall height. I thought that we were gonna, for the ADUs, we were gonna update it to some number like top of wall plate, and the same thing for the garages, that the second story had a maximum wall plate height of, X value.
Got it. Yeah, I recall that. It's top of wall plate, and I think we originally talked about 30 feet, but we're just going to do wall plate. I think that was what we discussed. Correct. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My big thing on this is back to the family issue. Because I want to make sure I'm understanding this right. You don't want this more of mother-in-law quarters, the more I read this. You want it as a whole nother family. Because under the same thing, that basically you build this other unit, say I bring my brother in and his family, that's another family. Which under multifamily, it's still multifamily, even though you're related. So that's where I want to get, I don't know the council member that's asked for this, but I do want to clarify that as where do you draw the line? Because, I mean, the city originally closed this and your citizens closed this. Not just, I mean, I understand opening it. The mother-in-law quarters does need to be fixed. I do agree with that. But do you get into the full whole nother family, which will open the door for renting as well and everything else? I mean, you can't stop it.
I
But,
think that the fact that they limited to 650 square feet helps, because when you're limited in size,
And
I mean, in my house, I could have my brother and his family come live with me if I wanted to,
Yeah.
and it would be under one family. I wouldn't even have to worry about having an AED.
I mean, 650 is bigger than you think it is.
No, it's not.
So, I mean,
no,
yeah.
But it's not.
Because I lived in 900 for 4 years.
I lived
Yeah.
I lived really bad in 900 square feet.
And that house was, believe me, 100 years old, so it was not the best
and
conditions.
I think we discussed that a little bit last time, that like there's no maximum occupancy requirement under any of the single family units, so
Well, you
can't really extend it to this, right?
When somebody owns a home, you can't have a maximum.
Yeah, and
Some people could have a lot of kids.
well, you can have 10 kids. I mean, you look at the old days, no offense, Mayor Martin, but my grandmother had 9. So,
You can't.
I mean, my great-grandmother had 9, and my grandmother had 2. So it's,
That kind of leads into what I was thinking also, because it's stating that who resides in the property does not say the property owner. So if I owned a property. and
It does say you
leased
can't
it-
lease it out.
Well, no, but if I decided I rented my property, then that extra living space goes then to the people that are renting from me. That's what I'm saying. I would rather see it the property owner instead of the person that resides in the home. So that way, if
Okay.
I build a house and I put in my mother-in-law unit, then it's specifically for me, and I cannot just go, hey, I'm going to live somewhere else and I'm going to rent this property, and whoever moves in decides, okay, yeah, I've got a brother or sister or whatever, and just move them in.
I mean,
That's a good point.
It is. So how is that addressable? How do we go about addressing that?
I mean, that's why we're here. That's why we have a public hearing. That's why we have, we pushed it off last meeting. We pushed it off as long as it takes to get it right.
No, and that's my question, is how do we address it?
that's my other thing. We were
What's-
told that it was not going to be a public hearing, and we're sitting here looking at it.
What is the necessary verbiage, Bobby, to put in there that will clarify that?
I think you.
It's hard to come up with that on the spot, Dolores, so I don't know, but we'd have to get into it and make sure every section would be addressed
No, that's
properly,
true.
that
At that
property
part where
owner.
It says the definition of an accessory, it says right here,
But you don't,
an
yeah.
accessory dwelling unit shall be utilized for the family that resides in the principal structure. You would just have to change it to utilized for the
For the property owner.
Can you, I mean, maybe, I don't know, you have to look into the legalities of that, but can you put just the property owner instead of?
Well, I think rather than the definition be addressed like 7737, and I don't like passive voice, but that's how we've got it here, is accessory dwelling units may be permitted within open single family, and the districts, blah, blah. We might have to be, may be permitted for property owners, something like that, to say when the actual grant of authority, the grant that allows you to have them, would have that in it, limitation, rather than having to mess with the definitions. It would be,
Yeah, that makes
put it that way, something
But
like
if-
that.
But if you use the word maybe, doesn't that leave it open that it's not definite?
Well, it may be permitted, meaning that, you're not required to come get a permit for an ADU.
No,
But-
but there are many lawyers that would love to make that loophole work.
Okay.
So that's just something I'll need to work on and options.
If that's one, I mean, keep talking. There may be other, that's why we're here. We want to
Yeah.
get your feedback, and we're glad you all looked at it, frankly. I mean, that's, another set of eyes is always good, so.
I mean, and I apologize, I've not been here the last couple of times, but when y'all have discussed this, but like what is, I mean, realistically, how do you go about enforcing it?
Code enforcement enforce it like they,
Yeah?
do anything else. A lot of times it's complaint-based. I mean, I'm not sure they're gonna be knocking on doors asking, hey, you got anybody running here,
Right.
But, I mean, like everything else, we do get complaints from time to time or find out things and have to tell them, sorry, you can't do that. And that's, the usual code enforcement process with a letter and perhaps a visit and follow-up letters. And then at the end of it, if there's still not compliance, they'd have to, do a ticket or something like that.
I mean, it's just, it's with anything you have to.
Yep.
How often do you get people trying, request to build these? I mean, they've been denied, obviously, for the last several years.
And not too many that I've seen come through. In the last 2 years that I've been doing this, I don't think I've seen any, actually.
I think it's just people know they're not allowed.
No, they just do it on Saturday.
True.
Well, that was my thing. That's why I said it needs to be defined more of mother-in-law quarters and not more of what we're doing here.
No,
If that's what that council member is asking for.
I see.
Of course, I don't know exactly what that council member is asking for. That's why I'm asking.
Well, it was also
So-
brought up last time, remember, about a child maybe graduated from college and living there to get a little bit of independence.
Which would fall in the mother-in-law category of not 6 people in the home, or, which is not another family. So, that's why I have you can define multifamily as 10 different things. So,
Well, that's why the levels is important, and if you think that's too wide, we can always narrow that down, an additional, take off on a level and say, was it 1 level of consanguinity or 2? It's kind of like whatever you think is appropriate.
I mean, I would drop it down personally, because if you're going to go towards the mother-in-law quarters and not towards a whole nother family,
I mean,
then that's the way it ought to be.
what does 4 get you right now? I mean, what's that family tree look like?
That's up to your great-grandparents, so family,
Yeah.
children, I think it might be children.
But also goes out, not just up, but also sideways too. So you may have your brother-in-law's sister or something like that.
See, that's,
you
where do
can get
you,
a
There's a
It's
nepotism
hard to
chart that
juggle
we would
that.
use for it, and consanguinity is blood, and then the other one is, I guess legal marriage. And I don't know if we address both of these in here, if it's, blood and marriage, both, because
Blood, marriage,
an
adoption,
in-law
guardianship.
is not consanguinity, they're not technically blood, it's by marriage, so, does that count?
Do you think it's fitting to expand on, so right now, marriage, adoption, and guardianship exist in the definition? Is there a way to, do you think, narrow that down in the form of the family and blood consanguinity, but for marriage?
I think there's a term for the other, not consanguinity, but the other,
I can't think of it right now.
I can't think of what that is either, so.
I mean, is the number of people up here are more, comfortable with
Affinity.
this, closer to like
Affinity
3?
and consanguinity.
see, that's the thing. Where do you draw the line?
Well,
that's
I mean, I hate to say it's 2.
We can put them in a
But
basket and pick
that's why I said I
one.
would like to know what the council members thought was, were they
Well-
pushing more for mother-in-law quarters or,
They get a say in this too after we're done, so.
but I still hate to, I rather fine tune this before I send it up. Because I've been through enough of these that, and Bobby knows. But I've seen a lot that we've sent up and came right back down too.
so parents would be what, second degree or first?
As much as I've practiced and tried to remember all this.
I'm sorry.
I can find out for you.
Okay, yeah, because, I mean, to me, that would make more sense, and then maybe something like an approval of, if parents are the second degree or first degree, limit it to that, and then if second, for example, grandparents, had an elderly grandparent, that all you had to do is come and register and seek approval, and could be denied, but more than likely wouldn't be since it was a family member.
And I do have the definition here, at least what artificial intelligence has given me, so let's take it with a grain of salt. But first degree, relatives separated by 1 generation, such as parents and children or siblings. Second is 2 generations, and then so on and so forth up through generations.
So
Okay.
second degree.
So second would be the furthest out instead of
That would
4.
be great-grandparents, right? Or grandparents.
That's
Grandparents.
how old you are too.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah, if you got
grandparents.
great-grandparents.
Property
We can get you that chart if that helps.
owners, let's rephrase that.
If you want to see that, we do have that chart we follow because the city has a nepotism policy. And we do have, it's basically done by concentric rings that go out. Your first level is here, second level, third level, and you can actually see all of the relationships that would be included in that. If that's helpful, we can make Tammy do that. Go find that somewhere, that chart.
It can't smile. It can't hurt. So, yeah,
Just give her more work.
it can't hurt. So,
Well, if you think about it, if we're going to second generation or grandparents, that's it. There's no anything past that.
okay. What? Yeah.
If you like, yeah, we found it. It's actually in our personnel policy. So the first level is parent or child. Second level is brother, sister, grandchild, grandparent. Third level is aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, great-grandparent, great-grandchild. And then 4 is great aunt, great uncle, cousin, etc. So you want to keep it to 2? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean,
2
3.
again.
I mean, based on that definition, I mean, 3 sounds reasonable to me. But
3, the aunt, uncle, nephew, niece.
Great grandma out, but you'll kick out the niece and the nephew.
I know.
Well,
That's how do you
Great
do
grandma
that?
gets to stay.
But can we not put something into the provision that states that if my great-grandparent was going to live with me, that I come and register and the city council could say, no, you can't have great-grandma, or give us permission since it is blood, but, because if we open it up, then you're talking also, the uncles and,
Everybody.
yes.
And I think that's the consanguinity chart. I think there's a companion one for affinity, which was the in-laws, where it's by marriage, which would have, your brother-in-law, brother-in-law's, brother or sister, so I think there's actually a companion one, if I'm not mistaken, that goes for affinity. So when you say, a lot of times, even state law will say, 2 levels of consanguinity and 1 level of affinity, meaning it's
Yeah.
your brother-in-law, or kind of a direct marriage thing, not any further than that, but for blood, it would be further.
Well, one other
Yeah.
thing I want to just throw out there is if my great-grandparents were still alive, they ain't going to hoof it upstairs above a garage.
well, it doesn't have to be a multi-level.
It could be a single story.
They can be a separate unit, so it's ground level.
Could be a room added on.
So I do have a question for us. What is our intent? What are we trying to limit? Are we trying to limit the number of people that are in the ADUs, or we're trying to limit the amount of,
I believe the
downstream
reach.
family members?
Yeah, I believe it's the reach. It sounds like that we're trying to limit. So, I think
Originally,
Bobby's.
they got rid of them. I mean, originally when because how many years ago did they get rid of it where you weren't allowed to do these ADUs? I mean, it's been a long time, right? Yeah.
More fingers
So
than I
why-
have.
Why did they decide they didn't want them anymore? Because what was the problem? You were probably around.
Me? No.
Were they
Yeah,
renting
you
them
and
No, I am. Yeah.
out? Were they renting them out instead of using them for
Yes.
that?
The biggest thing back in the day was rental, and it was nonstop rental. Law enforcement or code enforcement cannot
Keep up
even
with
keep up with that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's,
Well, I mean, it clearly says in here that they're not, can't be rented.
but it also got to me back into the multifamily bit. Now you have multifamily on the same lot, which is also another ordinance, totally. I'm kind of kicking that to the curb, but, so how do you justify that one too?
I mean, I just think it's
And
important.
that's what I said,
that there's a line.
yeah, but it does need to be fixed on the mother-in-law quarters, I do agree with. It does need to be fixed on that. But I don't know if I'd go as far as a whole family.
No.
I mean,
And I think came up last time too. Is
some
that
kind of-
is that a line that we can even draw in here?
So definitely a line you can define, and what type of relationship, I think is,
But as far as like a number of people, though, I mean,
well, that part, we don't have the occupancy,
right?
so, cheaper by the dozen, remember that book and movie?
Yeah.
It could be that kind of situation, and
So, I mean, I like Bobby's suggestion so far that, we've got the 2 different groups that, the blood group is, you make it a little bit larger, and the, marriage group is, keep it at the smallest. But just one
If
voice.
you give them an inch, they're gonna take them up.
If we switch to metric, they won't know what to do, so.
Oh, they will.
With the kilometers.
So, I mean, is that what we want to ask for is the one level of marriage and 2 levels of blood?
Can we define it that way without?
You mean to say, okay, so
We'll use
two,
Bobby's fancy words. So.
two levels of consanguinity?
Consanguinity is
Yeah,
blood.
consanguinity,
The
there you go.
single part is blood. It gives it
Okay,
away.
so 2 levels on that one, grandparent, brother, sister, grandchild. That's as deep as we want to go on blood?
Oh.
2 levels?
I mean,
I like that.
I'm in
That'd be better
the 3
than
camp.
What,
but-
4? I mean,
Okay. And again, council's looking for a recommendation from y'all. So there's not a wrong answer, just, what do you want to recommend? On the affinity side, so the first degree is just the spouse. So hopefully the spouse can live there. Otherwise, that's a whole other issue.
I like that one.
The second degree is, it says parent-in-law, daughter, or daughter-in-law or son-in-law. So that's the second degree. When you get to a third degree on an affinity, it says grandparent-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, grandchild-in-law.
Is there a thing, grandchild-in-law? I haven't heard that one before. This is my grandchild-in-law.
So, I mean, then 2.
I think 3's too far.
yeah.
Maybe 2 on both sides.
2 on both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in
Yeah.
camp 3 too, but 2
Yeah,
I can
three's
live
too
with as well.
much.
I mean,
Got that, Ian?
And then also,
Which one?
if the owner or property owner.
Yes, absolutely. We got that one.
or
Or
renter.
renter.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions then or topics that we need to discuss?
I think we chopped it pretty well up.
Okay.
A suggestion might be if you wanted to, you could make a motion for the ordinance still, right, with those 3,
Well, yeah, you can recommend approval
Change.
with the 2
with those 3
changes.
Conditions.
or 3. I think we had height, right?
Said
tied to
it
property.
will update the range with wall plate height, owner only, and degrees of separation. So it's 1, 2, those 4 items.
Okay, say them again. The height?
Height,
What
width,
was it?
yeah,
Yep. Infinity, yep, let's go with that.
owner only, and then the width of the cooktop.
Okay, so those 4.
Which it's got 24 inches in the one, but 30 in the other, so it just needs to be changed.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we're comfortable with 30 on that, right?
And that's 2 degrees on both.
Are y'all
2
comfortable with 30
2 degrees on both.
What's
inches?
the standard range?
30,
48, isn't it?
no, 30.
30.
30 standard.
What's a travel trailer, 30?
Those are usually
24.
24, 28, depending.
So 30's 2 inches, that's not a big
No,
deal.
30's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, 36.
That's why I was trying- I was
36
trying
is
to
when you
get
start getting to
size
like the
and-
5 burner stuff.
Okay.
But a regular, normal home, 4-burner stove?
It's 30, yeah.
30.
So if
Because
I'm.
the idea initially was to make it smaller, but we
Yes.
don't want to do that.
24 inch.
I mean,
Well, the kitchenette is small.
yeah, the kitchenette is small, but
Yeah.
I guess it just depends
It's
on how
nice.
much emphasis you put on it. You know, if somebody really likes to cook for themselves, I think a 24 inch is pretty darn small.
Yeah, they're those little, you can't
Yeah.
keep any sauce on them.
So I guess I motion then that we approve
I
it
think they're
with
checking.
the
Can we do a
3
motion with those
amendments?
added conditions?
For,
With conditions?
Go in and make sure that we know what we're voting for.
so our motion is going to be to recommend to council to approve this with 4 changes. First being the width of the cooktop is 30 inches versus 24. The heights will be based off of the wall plate for both the ADUs and the garage units. Change the the requirement for to have this be for owners, property owners,
Property
owner
owners.
only, and then 2 degrees of both of those,
Separate.
both levels, affinity and there you,
Okay.
on both levels.
That is your motion, but you don't want to see that in writing before you make that motion with this one? Since it's a public hearing as well, and the fact that it's on here, and we were told it would be.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm almost like to see,
We anticipate there's going to be a joint meeting and public hearing with council under that, that new legal ruling with the city of Austin, if you do a textual change to the zoning ordinance itself, not like a SUP or a PUD change or one little district, but you're going to do something to the whole ordinance like we did to the fence, you have to either send a letter to everybody, every resident in the city, or you go to city council to get approved an alternate means of notice, which is usually published in the newspaper. And that's what we did for the fence. We went to council, they approved a resolution approving the alternate means of notice, which was, and you have to have a joint meeting with the PD&Z and council. And we went ahead and published it, had the joint meeting, and then that was it. So we're going to be anticipating putting that on the calendar once it's ready to go. So if you're at that point where you think it's ready to go, we can go ahead and take it to council, get the alternate means resolution passed, put it on the calendar, and then when it's that time, all the notice requirements and publications been done, we'll have that joint meeting. So you still will be involved, even after today, you will still have to go to a joint meeting with council.
Dot the i's, across the t's. Yeah.
So we make a motion to send it to council? With
These recommendations.
Changes, and we'll take it from there and get it on the calendar, which means probably the resolution at council would probably be Monday, is my guess, if we can get it done in time. We'll set that up, and then we'll publish it and have that joint meeting at some point.
Will we be able to see these changes in the document? I mean, as you go, send it to the council as well?
And definitely for that meeting, but if you want it before it gets to council, I don't know if we'd send it separate, but we can. I mean, Ian, I don't know.
Or should we table it for, till next month to see the changes?
That's your pleasure.
Who would prefer to see it before we approve it?
Well, I kind of like to see what I signed, yeah. So I motion to table it until the.
We've had a lot of discussion on it, and we've gone back a couple of times, so I would rather to see it again,
So,
to be
I think it
honest.
sounds like we'd rather see it, so motion to table,
Yes.
Second.
and second, and all in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Very good.
Next time.
Okay. Agenda item C, consideration possible action to approve and forward with recommendation to City Council ordinance number 2024-025, which is the SUP for the nail salon.
Trying to figure out, I may not know any technological issues here. I don't know what I did. I had a presentation prepared, and I don't know what I did. Nothing. Bear with me 1 second. Do what? Yeah, there was like a button, but I can't. It was called Solstice. Sorry. I'll give, until we get this up, I'll just give my synopsis of this, and hopefully we can get this up for your viewing pleasure. So this request is for a specific use permit at 17211 Highway 6, which is actually the shopping center to the right of HEB. It is for a nail salon. Oh, thank you. I don't know what I did. Yeah, actually two, that's what I don't know what I did. This nail salon will have, sorry, now I'm just distracted. Sorry, guys. We'll have a typical floor plan that you see in most nail salons if you go to those. It's got a reception area proposed, 2 manicure areas, 4 pedicure areas, a facial and wax room, eyebrow area, utility areas, and bathrooms. Typical business. There are no plans to change anything on the exterior of this building. It's all interior, and so as long as the SUP is granted and they meet building codes, then there should be no issues. Hold on. I do have 2 conditions for this that we're recommending. Thank you. All right, and now we're in business. Now I don't have to fumble around so much with my papers. Thank you. This is the building itself. It is fully built out, though, at this point, I believe. The location of the HEB is here, and the red outline area is where the strip center is that this proposed nail salon is located. You can see on the site plan as well, here's the HEB, as you know it, and it's directly adjacent to it. Here's the floor plan, kind of like what I mentioned. You've got the sitting areas, the manicure, pedicure, restrooms, utility
That is a lot.
areas, small office for the manager.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of,
A lot of people.
My
can fit there, it looks
goodness.
like.
Yeah.
And I already gave you that spiel. So the two recommended conditions for approval are that all the waiting and lobby areas shall maintain an unobstructed view from the outside, and all doors remain unlocked and accessible during normal business hours. There's not really any major issues with granting this that we see, so. And I don't know if the applicant is here or not.
so why does a nail salon require a specific use permit? Like I know some of the other places won't require that, so what's the
Reasoning behind it,
caution?
I mean, ultimately, it's in the light commercial and Highway 6 overlay district, and I mean, it kind of predates me. I'm not sure if there was any issues that,
I mean, I know there was like massage salons and stuff, we had some concerns.
that actually,
Is it because of that, because of the nature of that?
I think so, yeah, because it falls into that kind of,
Oh, it falls in that same category? Yeah. Because you have to be cautious with those, but it feels like a nail salon's normal, and it seems weird to have a SUP and, but it's because it's in that same category as massage parlors.
It's
Is
one
it
of
because
those.
of the waxing rooms, maybe?
could be, yeah.
Separate rooms?
And
I
they do
just
have
wonder
separate
if it got
rooms.
caught in a group of things
Yeah.
that we originally didn't approve, and that was
We
in
don't want any of those little special massage
it.
parlors, we don't want
So,
those.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
24
You see the,
hours.
Yeah, no, sir.
They do it thriving.
And sorry, it's rotated. I couldn't fit it to where it would actually be visible.
Okay.
But yeah, they do have those two rear rooms. You've got your facial and waxing room that are separate from the open area.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about this?
So the owners or the projected owners are not here? Or, no?
And it doesn't appear to be.
No.
Does not appear to be.
Okay. Isn't gonna be here.
Okay. If there's no more questions, any motions?
I'll make a motion to approve with the two conditions.
And I'll second it.
All those in favor then? And the motion carries 7-0. Okay, agenda item D, consideration of possible action to approve and forward with recommendation to City Council ordinance number 2024-0-26, which is going to be our SUP for ambulatory healthcare services.
Okay. Okay, let's see if I can break this again.
We have confidence in you.
All right, now I'm pressing the button. Okay, we're good. This one's not quite as an expansive presentation, so probably would have been in my benefit for it not to open. So this request is for an emergency room or ambulatory health services located at 17518 Highway 6 or Morris. Here is a site plan indicating, and it's kind of a funky shaped lot, but you see this is on the south side of Highway 6. You've got your parking to the east and the kind of pie area, pizza pie, and your building here with other ancillary uses here. The subject site is within light commercial, light industrial, I believe, on this one. Light industrial and Highway 6 overlay districts. They intend to provide 24-hour emergency room, waiting lobby, nurses station, front desk, 6 treatment rooms, 2 exam rooms, X-ray and CT scan services. So it's pretty comprehensive. There are some conditions that we have recommended, 5 to be exact. They must be permitted to stay open for 24 hours. That's part of their business plan anyway. All waiting and lobby areas remain and maintain unobstructed view from the outside, just like our last. All doors remain unlocked and accessible during normal business hours, and that's really for safety purposes. The dry detention ponds need to have a minimum 15-foot maintenance berm around all sides. I think their current proposal was less than that based on conversations from before. I think 5 or 10, Dan, I can't remember. I know we talked about it. Unless engineering criteria, manual deviation is approved for less than 15 feet for that maintenance berm, that can be granted, I believe, administratively if it meets the criteria. And all development requirements are met during the permitting process. So this one will, if approved, with the conditions, have to have a plat submitted and your development plan, your building permits, and all the goodies after that. So that's our recommendation of approval with those conditions.
Okay, and the name on this is just Manvel Emergency Center?
Yes.
Is there anybody with that here tonight? may we have them come up? And
Yes, ma'am.
kind of tell us? Because I'm interested in.
Did y'all have anything y'all wanted to just tell us about? Yeah, please come up and,
So how, because we have the other one that's being put over there by HEB. This is not the same one.
no.
No, and
There's
that's
one by,
not 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
and there's
24
another one
hours.
at
More of an urgent care.
Highway 6.
So this is
in
going to be actually
Morris.
emergency room, 24/7 RN and physician, radiology tech, lab, CT, radiology. Urgent cares are occupied or staffed with either nurse practitioners or PA. We're not allowed to do that. We have physicians. We can keep the patient up to 23 hours if there's nowhere to transfer the patient. So we are basically your hospital emergency room without the hospital.
Are you affiliated with anyone, or is this going to be your own?
It's not just me. I have partners, but yes, I'm affiliated with a few of them that I actually I'm a CNO and COO of 3 of them so far.
But
Okay, but-
nothing with Memorial Hermann or.
You're not
okay.
associated with one of the big hospitals.
You're
No,
independent.
not with any big hospital.
Okay.
And do y'all own just that parcel that's here, or do you own that entire parcel behind it as well?
No, I wish we did.
Okay.
So the plan is if community support the business plan, we will become a hospital. But we have to see how we do with the emergency room.
Okay.
Will there be like a helicopter pad or anything for me?
We don't have room enough.
Okay.
Yeah. No helicopter pad. In case if we have to transfer somebody, we have to coordinate with fire department.
And then,
Could you do a private EMS for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. We have 2 companies that actually private EMS. And usually when you have to transfer on emergency situation, the transfer is not charged to the patient, it's charged to the facility.
Didn't know that.
oh, don't worry, you'll get the bill somewhere.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions
The
for?
only thing I worry about is access to this,
From Highway 6.
There's
because
a
the medians.
driveway.
I mean, can you go back to that one with, not the site plan, yeah, that one. Does it have to go down and
You have
further
to go
down
to
and
the-
turn around and come
The
back?
church right next to it?
No, that's Sonic.
No, that's Sonic.
It's right next to Sonic, so you'll have
Yeah.
to go
That's
down
what
to
I
the
was-
light.
yeah.
Yeah, to
Yes,
do that if you're,
So our plan is to ask for a cart,
okay,
I mean,
but you know how long that's gonna take.
Yeah.
it's text
I mean, I like that.
Yes, takes that.
Don't want
So,
to cause more
I mean,
risks either.
But
I don't know if you guys ever been to Lake Jackson. I was working for another company. I built the one in Lake Jackson, and actually we got to TechStar to put a light there for us, and the city approved it, and it helped out a lot.
I think just a turning deal would be
We,
fine.
yeah, we just need that turn.
Yeah,
Well, there's also the truck turnaround
Down,
just right
yeah.
there. So
There's that.
that's what I was trying to figure what would,
So really,
I like the idea.
it's
It's
not,
just-
yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's a lovely idea.
I don't
since
wanna
we
cause
don't
more
have a
problems.
hospital here.
Okay.
It is.
I mean,
do y'all have any other questions for him? Then?
that's it.
No. Okay.
The only concern I had, I mean,
Any other questions for anybody else? Then?
So if you are to get the land behind you, is that where you propose the actual hospital possibly?
So we pushed our building all the way close as far as we could to where the deed restriction is, so we could put something behind it. It's just that it's part of our land falls in flood zone. We have to elevate it.
Okay.
And our plan is probably elevate that part, but we'll see what happens. I mean, you're talking about going from $8 million project to $22 million project. So
Yeah.
that support has to be there, you know.
But you're just gonna start with the emergency room and see where that goes?
Yes, ma'am.
That's
Yes, ma'am.
actually a good.
To see if there's any need. Within
Okay.
5 miles of us, there are 2 hospitals.
Yeah, but I won't go to either one of them.
I don't blame you.
Okay.
Keep in mind at the rear as well, I believe that's in the flood zone.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Everything south of Highway 6, I believe.
Everything's a
Is.
flood zone.
Yeah, yeah. So if it becomes a hospital and you see there's a little section left, it's not gonna be a specialty hospital. So no surgeries, no L&D, nothing like that. We just don't have enough room for it.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
So will
Yes, sir.
So will the ambulance service directed to you, to this location, or will it go to a hospital? How does that work?
So because we don't have surgery, we cannot become a trauma center, correct?
Okay.
So neurological problems, traumatic problems, they all go directly to the hospital.
Okay.
And but if it's something that we can handle, we can take the patient.
Okay.
So in order to resolve the issue and waste time, there are some issues that the sooner the patient gets to the hospital or gets to the OR, the better. So in order to resolve those issues, before opening, we're going to have extensive meetings with EMS services
Okay. Okay.
and educate them on our capabilities.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else for anybody else? Once, twice? Okay. Motions.
I make the motion with the conditions.
No, second that.
And all those in favor? So motion carries 7-0. Excellent. Agenda item E, consideration and possible action to direct staff to provide applicants written statements of the conditions of any conditional approvals and the reasons for disapprovals of any plans or plats that were not approved per Texas Local Government Code 212.0091. I'll make a motion to approve this. Do I have a second?
Second.
And all those in favor?
Sorry.
7, okay, motion passes 7-0. And then, motion to adjourn,
Second.
second, and all in favor. And that passes 7-0 as well.
Always passes.
Thank you, everybody, for coming this evening. Hope you have a great night, and we will